podcast, first episode out of the gate. My name's Lee, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you for stopping by. If you can't tell already, I am very much Canadian. I've always liked to think that I don't have much of a Canadian accent, but, in preparing to do this episode, and as well, over the last few months, I've had an opportunity to hear my voice recorded, whether it be on my Instagram stories or at work and meetings. And yeah, it's pretty clear I have a Canadian accent. I think it's probably not as thick. Maybe I'm delusional as some of my Eastern counterparts, even out West, but I've noticed it quite a bit as well. And even just with the teleworking, when I am talking to friends in the US or even at work or meeting new customers or clients in past lives, and the first thing that they call it is the about. Yeah, what are you about? I never thought, and I was like, that's not me. And then I've been prepping for this, and I was like, oh man, definitely you can hear that Canadian twang a little bit, but it's all good, right, guys and gals? So anyways, thanks for popping in. I don't know, as this podcast evolves, and I know you have a lot of selection out there, I'll try to keep it pretty short and sweet to a couple topics a week. I like to listen to podcasts when I'm working out or drinking a coffee first thing in the morning, and I will get video up and running, but I'm just trying to figure out an area to be able to do this that makes the most sense for you as the viewer. So bear with me as I get things organized over the next couple of weeks, and we'll try to have some fun together. So just to kick things off, probably some of you have wandered over to my podcast because I have a little bit of a following on Instagram, not just nothing crazy, but for the longest time I actually had a private account for years and years and years, and then I opened it up public, and so I've had a few Insta friends as of late. So for you guys that are on my Instagram, shout out to you, and thanks for keeping me laughing over the last year and a bit through this crazy pandemic. I think if you guys have watched the movie Ready Player One, I feel like we're in a real life version of like Ready Player COVID. Like this is some sort of simulation, and I don't know what the backstory is or how we get out of this, but it's been pretty crazy. Anyways, that being said, I'm going to try to keep this as clean as possible in terms of my language, but like I said, I'm unapologetically Canadian, so there will be a time where an F-bomb will drop. So I figure, to try to keep this accessible to all, what I'll do in the meantime is every time I do a podcast, I'll pick a theme. Maybe I'll double over my F-bombs and my swearing. So with that being said, today's theme will be John Candy. So if I end up swearing, I will overdub myself with one of our favorite John Candy movies up here in Canada, or a title of a movie or something that he said. So we'll try to keep it fun. But if I get through this without swearing, then that'll be awesome. So I'm working right now in one of my offices in the bedroom, and it's possible you might hear some road noise in the background, so I apologize. I've been trying to record this over the last couple of weeks and just can't find a day where there isn't a sound of a car or vehicle. I live on a stretch of road where, at certain times of day or night, some of the guys or maybe even gals like to put the pedal to the metal. So sometimes when we hear them really floor it, we say, let's go for it, bud, or get her done. So I don't know if these Canadian sayings will make any sense for people that are, worldwide. I know some of my American friends, where I'll translate over, but I find, it's very funny, and obviously dealing with social media, just the nuances of how we say things versus how other countries or cultures say things. It's quite funny. Like in the winter where we say, put on your winter hat, and we say, put on your toque. Our money, $1 is called a loonie. People, when I was in England, in London, the UK, I said, oh, can I go to the washroom? And they're like, what do you mean washroom? And it's the toilet. You want to go to the toilet? I'm like, it's just funny. Coffee, if we go to Tim's, and going to Tim Hortons, you're going to get a double, bud. Just funny stuff like that. But I don't know where to start. So, I'm recording this at 4:00 in the afternoon in the week, first week of May. There's a lot of hubbub in the news lately about Elon Musk going on SNL. And this whole thing is about podcasts about things that just may not be super funny in the grand scheme of things, but things that, just easily amuse me or you. And it just really cracks me up how everybody's making such a big hoopla about this. God, I hope I don't get myself canceled on the first episode. I totally understand the reasons why when it comes to, wealth and privilege and stuff like that. But let's just put these things in perspective. This is Saturday Night Live, folks. There is no rhyme or reason when it comes to television. I'm curious to see, as kind of a spectator, what he comes to the table with. But for all those people that are really getting their knickers in a twist over Elon Musk being on an SNL, again, I completely understand. That being said, this is a guy that launches Tesla vehicles into space over our heads. Shouldn't there be some things that we're a little bit more concerned about these days, whether or not Elon Musk is on SNL? And sometimes it just cracks me up when I see all the hype online and not in the media about, things to kind of just get us all fired up over, really something that is so meaningless at the end of the day. But Elon Musk actually, funny enough, while we're on the topic, just sold a little while back part of Tesla's stock in Bitcoin. I think it was something like $100 million profit that he made from Bitcoin. What if Elon Musk was the guy that started Bitcoin? Like, nobody really knows who this guy is, right? Like, if I Google it right now while I'm talking to you, Bitcoin inventor, what's his name? It's some guy that's like behind the veil. Like, he's not, oh God, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Please don't cancel me. Satoshi Nakamoto? Isn't he like the guy that's the founder, but nobody really knows who he is or if he's a real person? Is that the right guy? Keep me honest, guys. Yeah. So wouldn't it be funny if Elon Musk was this Bitcoin guy? Nah, I doubt it. That would be hilarious. But anyways, I digress. So he just recently sold like a lot of stock or a lot of his chunk in Bitcoin. I think he made like $100 million. And I was reading an article the other day that Bitcoin is actually, what was it saying? Had carbon dioxide emissions comparable to Las Vegas or Hamburg. Something like that. Just because of the high amount of energy and CO2 that is required for the cryptocurrency's footprint based on all the machines that they operate, the servers on that. And I just like, that's so circular and ironic that Elon Musk, who's, trying to do all these great things for the environment and obviously paying Tesla and green machines and stuff, has a stake in this cryptocurrency. And let's just be honest, like, this thing is just like made up funny money, monopoly money. That's causing so much environmental damage. It's just, and I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying it's just so ironic. And these are little things that make me go to say, at the end of the day, I can totally understand why people just say, Uncle Buck, it. Oh, see, there you go. I got my first F-bomb out of the way. But when it comes to trying, like with the environment and stuff, when they see people like this that just are making tons and tons of cash, everything is just so circular. Anyways, I digress, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. I haven't been a huge fan of SNL as of late. Like, it has its moments. So I usually record it and then watch it the next day, so that way I can fast forward. I've always been a fan of Weekend Update with Michael Che and Colin Jost now. Some of the sketches, there are, a few that I like there, but sometimes it's just hit and miss when it comes to SNL. So yeah, the beauty of fast forwarding it. It's a miss and no love, no loss. You haven't sunk a lot of time. But, so yeah, that's coming up. So we'll see what the Twitter army has to say about that. Yeah, I am on Twitter, but I'm not really active on it. I have an account just because of, my social media account. I figured I'd just create a Twitter to see what's going on with things and link things together. But it's just a hate machine. It really feels so dirty whenever I log into Twitter. It's really bonkers. People have a lot of time on their hands. And I never know where to start. Like in the feed, you know, I have some folks that I follow and some, like I said, social media friends that I follow, but I never know when to like just start typing in. And I always feel like I get the post and delete syndrome. Like, oh, I say this, oh, what if it comes back like 10 years from now? Like oh, I think people get after me. I'm insecure as it is. Like, last thing I want to do is like say something and it be interpreted the wrong way on Twitter, and then half freaking countries coming after me. Maybe I shouldn't be on Twitter. That's pretty much my thought on the matter. But anyways, what else is going on? I don't know about you guys, but so you've been held up here too, like most of you, and by all means, I'm not complaining. Like in the grand scheme of things, I know I'm privileged when it comes to other folks that are out there. You know, I'm very, very lucky in that regards. But that being said, I think I'll probably cut in a 2-minute clip that I posted on Insta the other day, just around, you know, the trials and tribulations of going out right now, and we're on lockdown because we can't get our shit together. I'll decide whether or not we can say shit. If not, you may have a dub over here. But yeah, we can't get our shit together. You know, we were on a good upswing, and you know, for me, it feels like whenever we kind of make some trajectory, there's like an event or a holiday that comes up, and like Christmas or Thanksgiving or you know, just a long weekend, and then people get together, and then shit hits the fan, and then the levels are going up again, and then we get put on lockdown. And if you're in the States, just to kind of give you some comparisons right now when it comes to the vaccination thing, and first thing I want to say is it's not my intent to get like super political on this podcast. I want to keep it just easy breezy and light and fun, and everybody's welcome. I wouldn't consider myself a conservative or a liberal, or, you know, I'm just right in the middle. Like, I'm not down with necessarily all of the back and forth when it comes to politics. But that being said, you know, when it comes to the vaccine strategy, I'm not going to politicize it. But to give you a comparison of Canada versus the States, we're on a phased approach where they haven't just released it to like everybody at a certain, after like we'll say frontline workers, they're doing phases. Like they're starting out obviously with frontline workers and people in retirement residence and hospital staff, and then they've done like a progressive like age countdown, we'll say, and they've bucketed people with certain risk health conditions, and as well as, well, we'll say mostly just like super high risk health conditions, very similar to the States, and then certain age groups. And I, you know, in the grand scheme of things, when I look back at this, we'll probably say, wow, we did this really fast. But being in it right now, being somebody that is like under 50, not necessarily in one of these high risk groups, we just kind of sit around waiting for our turn. And it's ironic because, and again, like, of course, people with high risk conditions and old people should get, you know, or elderly people should get vaccinated. But then I kind of think about it on the opposite frame and say, you know, it's the 20-somethings and the 30-somethings and 40-somethings that are out in the career force, that are the majority, I'll say, out in the career force, or out in the day-to-day, or you know, have their kids, they're running the errands. Like, kind of shouldn't be a little bit of an opposite approach, but I don't know. It's neither here nor there. It's kind of something to debate about in the future, but. And we have the AstraZeneca vaccine as well. Props to my US brothers and sisters for sending us over your AstraZeneca that you don't want. Oh, good Lord. So they have a pharmacy approach for the AstraZeneca, and then they have the mRNA, or, you know, the Pfizer, Moderna type vaccine that's being distributed through clinics and healthcare workers. So for those ones, you kind of have to wait till your group is called, and then it's kind of like a bum rush to try to get an appointment. So you have to like go online and figure out, what a cluster. Anyways, so yeah, I think I'll post in here in a second, like just my story about going out. But since we're, on vaccine, you kind of have to or on lockdown, you kind of have to, figure out when you're going to go out and time it and stuff like that, because not everything's open. But I'll paste that in now, and then I'll come back. We're on lockdown, and I'm not vaccinated yet, waiting for my turn. And this guy is behind me. He's like, hey, so pretty soon we won't have to deal with any of this. I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, pretty soon we're all gonna get vaccinated. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll see. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm waiting the rollout strategy for second shot, and I'm just turning my head and trying not to talk because I don't want to interact with people. And so anyways, they call us up. It's our next turn. It's a curbside pickup, and he's like in the little booth beside me. He's like, I was like, oh shit. Look at him. He's like, oh, don't worry. I got tested last week. I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, yeah, I thought for sure I had it. I'm like, oh God,
Planes.
My life. The one time I go out in like 3 weeks. And he's like, yeah, but it came back negative. But I was
Trains.
so sick. Oh man, it was a nasty flu. I'm like, oh my God.
Automobiles.
He's like, yeah. He goes, but there's nothing to worry. It's all good. I'm like, now I'm gonna have anxiety for like the next 2 weeks. I have COVID because I was standing next to this guy. Although we're wearing masks, it's all good. But people, PSA, folks don't want to know whether or not you may or may not be sick. We just want to be blindly ignorant to the fact and live our daily lives. Because irrational people like me now are going to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking I got the plague. Oh, I can't wait to get vaccinated. Yeah, so anyways, so here you go. So that's kind of like what it is. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you go out. And like of all the times to go out, the one
Spaceballs.
time I go out and this guy is just like walking dead. I'm just like, God.
Canadian bacon. Cool Runnings.
Anyways, so we'll see how that goes. But like I said, everybody out there, I hope you're doing well and you're staying safe. What else is going on these days? Hey, did you guys hear about Amazon and how people are pooping in the Amazon packages? I heard about this. I saw it online not too long ago. It was a leaked memo that came out from Amazon. I think it was in the States. Because I think originally Amazon denied reports that delivery workers were being forced to, I guess maybe they're just time constrained or they're so busy on their shifts, for delivery and whatnot. So they're being forced to there was a rumor saying that they were being forced to urinate in bottles due to lack to access to bathrooms and stuff, or maybe it was because of the pandemic and the protocol. But so there was this memo that went out not too long ago. Maybe it was last year or this year, but I saw it online not too long ago where I have a year. So the memo said this evening, an associate discovered human feces in an Amazon bag that was returned to station by a driver. This is the third occasion in the last 2 months when bags have been returned to the station with poop inside. Oh, poor guys and gals. Can you imagine? You know what? I'm going to overshare. Oh, I've been there. You have to go so bad. Oh, I'm sharing too much about myself. You ever have that feeling, not to go into too much detail, it's you have to go so bad that it's red alert. You're in a car, it's gotta pull over now, get me to the nearest bathroom, get me to the nearest Starbucks. Oh, I can just imagine this poor Amazon driver that's just trying to get through their run, trying to just, bring home the bacon, get their shift done. And it's lockdown and they can't go to the washroom anywhere and they're in their car on Evergreen Drive. It's just code red kicks in. And you're okay, with all these houses with ring alarms and doorbell alarms or whatever, where are you gonna go? And you're looking around in your car and you're oh, you gotta pop a squat in a package. Worst nightmare. This is, again, maybe this isn't funny to you, but this is just me getting the visual of like this poor Amazon driver like in their back seat popping a squat over in their express shipping a box that says like Prime with a smiley face on it. Oh man. Oh, anyways, we understand that driver associates may have emergencies while on road, and especially during COVID. Oh my God. Driver assistants have struggled to find bathrooms while delivering. Regardless, DAs must not return bags to the station with poop inside. Oh my God. So I gotta go through like the process of like this is happening. And okay, so you're in your car and you have like a red alert situation. Completely understand. So you pull over and you make that executive decision that I'm going to poop in a package. I'm going to get an Amazon bag, I'm going to get a box, whatever I have on hand, and I'm going to get this shit done. I completely understand. You got me. I'm in the car for that. Okay, so you proceed to poop into the package. You probably use a shipping receipt as toilet paper or whatever you have on hand. And then you probably roll up the package envelope or you close the box. That's where you should be calling it like end of day, succeeded, mission accomplished. No one will be the wiser, okay? Where I get lost is the packages are being returned. The poop packages are being returned to the warehouse, the distribution center. So either two things come to mind. Who is returning these poop packages? I don't think they'd be knowingly returning that. So most likely the root cause is they're accidentally leaving them in the car, or they're forgetting which packages they pooped in and then returning that with like the unclaimed packages. I don't know how the system works. But either way, fine. We don't know the root cause. A poop package makes its way back. Okay, so the thing that makes me crack up is, okay, the whole popping the squat in, again, my full empathy. I will probably tell you guys stories that I will regret later in life. So you got me there. The accidental, we'll say maybe potentially return to Amazon. Okay, fine. I understand. Shit happens, literally. Okay, but the thing that really makes me laugh is once you unpack that, then you gotta visualize like the poor person that is just working the line on returns or whatnot, or cleaning the vehicle, not knowing. They grab the package and they're like, oh, something feels different here. And they open it up and they proceed to see that someone has defecated in this box. Oh my God. So for me, I'd be like instant like, oh my God. But then the fact that this is happening on more than one occasion that requires Amazon to send out a memo for people to stop pooping in boxes. Oh, chef's kiss. Could not get any better. Could not get any better. And the fact that this exists now on the internet. These are the things that I live for. So anyways, at the end of the email says, the email went on to say, we've noticed an uptick recently of all kinds of unsanitary garbage being left inside bags. Use masks, gloves, bottles of urine. Okay. Oh my God, you poor people on the front lines. I thank you so much for everything that you do. Grocery store workers, healthcare workers, our Amazon people, like the one thing that we never talk about are like these third parties that do contracting work for like Amazon stuff. Like they really get, for lack of a better expression, the shit under the stick. Like you're really busting your butts out there. And I can completely understand, like for me, this just sounds like an awful mistake, but it apparently is happening more than once. Oh, my gut hurts. Sorry. So anyways, speaking of Easily Amused, I'm reading the memo right now again. This evening, an associate discovered human feces in an Amazon bag that was returned to station by a driver. Oh, poor guys. Anyways, and at the bottom it says, on the bottom of the memo, if you guys look this up, it's like on the road area manager, and the person's name is Amazon Logistics, on behalf of Amazon Logistics. Oh my God. Anyways, so yeah, if you're a frontline worker, I totally appreciate everything that you've done. I can just imagine. One of the things that we don't talk about too is a lot of these frontline workers too, or at least I can just say from my perspective where I live, a lot of these folks working in the grocery store are like young students, like, dare I say, I don't want to label people, like young kids. And I don't think we give like these young students and these young kids enough credit. Like we like to bash millennials and talk about like, they've they're so, what's the word, spoiled. These are the kids that are, keeping food on our plates right now for us. These are the ones that are, sacrificing their health to serve us, right? So if you're listening and you happen to be, in that age group especially too, like, I think you're equally as unappreciated. And anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, but yeah, thanks for all that you've done. And eventually this will pass, but please, 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 if you have to go to the washroom, please do not poop in an Amazon box if you can avoid it. Put in the back of your vehicle a big Home Depot bucket. I speak from experience. We'll get into that another day. There's no need to be pooping in packages. So, I don't know how many minutes this has been. It's been about 27 minutes. I don't want to keep you guys too long. It's one of the things when I listen to podcasts or, episodes is, there isn't really a lot for people to say, and I'm not terribly important. And the last thing you want to hear me is drone on for an hour and a half. But we'll see what happens with this, and I'll try to post an episode every week. And I might cut in some funny bits for when I post this on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram at Easily Amused Pod, as well on Twitter. And as well, if it's easier, you can just go to easilyamusedpod.com for links and for links to the episode podcasts. So thanks for joining me, and stay tuned for episode 2. Talk to you later.